want to talk about Miami, and I want to talk about specifically the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. You ready for some of this stuff, Daddy?
Buddy, I remember how good they were, but when you started reading these stats, it was absolutely
It's
jaw dropping.
stupendous. So, are you ready?
Let's do it, man. This
All
is going to be a
right.
good one.
So, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, they're widely considered to be one of the greatest college teams of all time, maybe just one of the greatest teams of all time after you hear
Hmm.
these stats, right? So, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, they scored 512 points in their 2001 season. That was 42.6 points per game. They led up 117 points, right? That's 9.75 points per game allowed. They allowed 9.75 points per game.
While scoring
Unbelievable.
almost 43.
So the average margin they had per game of the spread was
Yeah.
32.9 points a game was the spread. It's the largest in the school's history. And then while they needed decisive plays late in the fourth quarter to secure victories over Boston College and Virginia Tech that year, Miami won every other game on its schedule by at least 22 points, and they set the NCAA record for the largest margin of victory over consecutive ranked teams by beating them 124 and to 7.
Right. And you said they had their only two close games were against Virginia Tech and Boston College.
Yes.
Virginia Tech ended that season ranked 18th, and Boston College ended the season ranked 21st.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's not like, I mean, even the
They
teams they
weren't
had to
playing
struggle with,
bums. Yeah.
the Big East was a beast back
Big
then,
East
man.
was, dude, back in the day, man, they were players, dude. They were really good. But, dude, think about that. They played, so they set the record for largest margin of victory over consecutive ranked teams 124 points to 7 points, which means one touchdown. One.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
124 points. That's crazy, man. And then the offense set a school scoring record for sure, but the defense led the nation in scoring defense and fewest points allowed. They led it in pass defense and turnover margin. Also, the 2001 Miami Hurricane defense scored 8 touchdowns of its own that season. And those points alone would have been enough. Just if they didn't have an offense and just had a defense, Miami still would have had an 8-4 record in 2001. That's how much the Miami defense scored, and that's how much they dominated their opponents.
that's got to be. Can you? That's got to be so fun. Like that's
Oh,
got to be. Can you imagine being a linebacker on that team and just being like,
yeah,
I am having the most fun I've ever. My
yeah,
D line is awesome.
yeah.
Everyone behind me can cover. Like I just get to go balls to the wall at whoever has the ball because I trust everyone else around me is going to make the right play. That's got to be the
Also,
best.
everyone on this team knocks the shit out of people. They knock
Murderers,
the shit out of people.
murderers.
So this 2001 team had 6 All-Americans on it, and then also they had some like award finalists. So Ken Dorsey, he won the Maxwell Award and he was a finalist in the Heisman voting. He finished third. And then Bryant McKinney won the Outland Trophy, which is, I think it's an O-line trophy, right?
Okay,
Or offensive tackle. So amongst these guys, this was a star-studded 2001 Miami Hurricanes team, right? Quarterback, they had Ken Dorsey. Running backs, Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Najee Davenport, and Frank Gore. Tight end, they had Jeremy Shockey. Wide receiver, they had Andre Johnson. Tackle, offensive tackle, they have Bryant McKinney. Defensive lineman, Jerome McDougal and William Joseph and Vince Wilfork. Then linebackers, they had Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams, and then defensive backs, they had Ed Reed, Mike Rumpf, and Philip Buchanan. And then also, just some other contributors who included future stars. They had Kellen Winslow Jr., Sean Taylor, Antrell Roll, Vernon Carey, and Rocky McIntosh. Right?
that's disgusting.
Disgusting. Here's something even more disgusting, Bron. How many in 2001? Can you tell me how many teams were in the league?
I believe the Panthers and Jags were in by that point,
They
so I
were.
believe we're
Yep.
looking at 32 teams.
32 total teams in the league. That means there were 32 picks in the first round of the NFL draft. Is that correct, Bern?
That is, unless something weird happened where a team lost a draft pick, then there might only be 31, but that's only happened a few times. So I think it's a safe guess there were 32 first round draft picks.
Well, out of the 32 first round draft picks, 17 players from the 2001 Miami Hurricanes were drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. 17 players went in the first round. So out of the 32 picks of the first round, 17 of them were from the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, dude.
That's more than half of the first
Right.
round.
Right.
That's, can you imagine how fun that was? Like, I bet they should, hopefully they had their own draft room. It was like the Miami guys draft room and then everybody else draft room. Because those boys could party a little bit too.
Oh,
So,
dude.
I mean,
Seventh floor,
that had
baby.
to be so goddamn fun. Can you imagine how fun that was? And
The
yeah,
best,
at that
dude.
point, if you're like, I'm not sure who to draft, and you're drafting like 21, you're like, I don't know, just give me a Hurricane.
Who's
like,
any Miami players left
any
out
Miami
there?
guys still left out there? I'll give you one of those. I don't even care what position
So,
they play.
dude,
Like,
that was the 2001. That 17. So out of this 2001 team, right? 17 players went in the first round of the 2001 draft. Still from this Miami, class. In 2002, they had 5 players go.
first round.
2000, yeah, in the first
Yeah.
round. 2003, they had 4, and then 2004, they had 6. Right. So think about that.
So
right?
there were freshmen who were sitting on the bench, who didn't even play, get run on this 2001 team, who were good enough to be drafted to the NFL in 2004.
On the roster of this 2001 team, there were 32 total first round draft picks.
That's outrageous.
Outrageous.
Outrageous. How do you rebuild a team after that? You just lost 32 guys to the league, plus probably a couple dudes who went out and got walk-on gigs. You know?
Dude, yes. So, I mean, this is even crazier. Overall, they would have 38 members of the team would be selected in the NFL draft, and that's as of 2013. This 2001 team, earned a combined 43 trips to the Pro Bowl. So all the players on this team combined for 43 trips to the Pro Bowl, right? Which is insanity.
Well, when you consider the average career of a football player is like 3 years,
right?
That means all these guys were hits. They all hit.
Right. Not for long, right? So the fact that all these guys, I mean, dude, Ed Reed had 9, Andre Johnson had 7 trips to the Pro Bowl, Frank Gore, Vince Wilfork had 5, Shockey went 4 times, Villman went 3, McGahee, Chris Myers, Clinton Portis, Antrell Roll, and Sean Taylor all went 2, and Sean Taylor would have gone 10.
You know what? That's the one you hear.
alive.
Sean Taylor might have gone 10 years in a row.
Oh, easily. Dude, he was one of the most
happened.
feared men in the league, if not the most feared man. Also, then you ask that like Vilma, Shockey, Wilfork, Joseph, Roll, McKinney, and Reed, they all won Super Bowls eventually. And then it is estimated, so as early as 2009, they did an estimation that it would have costed to build this 2001 Miami team. It would have cost $120 million, and that was as an estimate of in 2009. So now, what's that? $500 million to build this team?
I was going to say probably $500 million, probably a cool.
It probably
$500
cost,
million.
dude. Even with like the NIL stuff now, it would probably cost more than $120 million to build this team now with NIL. You know
what's crazy too? You mentioned NIL. Obviously, this is pre-official NIL. There's always been a little bit of NIL going on in college sports. Like, guys have always gotten money, but this was football pre-NIL. This is when you went somewhere, and if you wanted to transfer, you had to sit out a year. So you were able to build these deep benches. These guys who, like, obviously there were guys in this team who were like, I could be a starter anywhere else in the country. Imagine being a defensive back on Miami, and you're like, you're the seventh guy off the bench, and you're like, I could go to the number 6 team in the country and start
Yeah.
hands down right now. But why not come here, play with the best, play the best competition? Like I do miss that. I do think the one thing that NIL is killing for me is building longevity of teams. But I mean,
Do you
that's
want to hear? Do you want to hear something? This is another amazing stat about the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Do you want to hear it?
of course I want to hear it.
Okay, so the 2001 Miami Hurricane, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, first, second, and third string running backs, all later became running backs with a start in the NFL, a feat that has only been done 5 other times, and it's only been achieved by the 2010, 2012, 2013, and 2014 Alabama Crimson Tide. They remain the only team to have
Wait,
their
what
first,
about
second, third, and fourth string running backs all later to become running backs in the
oh,
NFL to start in the NFL.
it's the fourth string. I was going to say Auburn, that Auburn year with Cadillac, Ronnie Brown, and Brandon Jacobs. They were the first, second, third string running backs.
Brandon Jacobs was on that Auburn because I remember
Yeah,
was Jason Campbell was the quarterback.
it was
So it was
correct.
Cadillac, Ronnie Brown,
Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, and Brandon Jacobs. Those are the
damn, that
three
was a
running backs of that
brutal
team.
backfield.
Yeah,
Jason Campbell
BJ.
was a bust for Washington, thank
Dude,
God.
you see a picture of Brandon Jacobs with his kid?
No.
His kid just graduated from high school. He's playing in college. I forget where he's playing right now. This kid is towering over Brandon Jacobs. Towers. I
What?
saw it and I was like, how? This kid's got to be 6'9".
Wow.
I just
He's
saw a
that
picture of,
big.
and he was like,
Braden
yeah,
Kenneth Jacobs.
and he was dwarfing Brandon Jacobs. And I was,
Oh
Brandon Jacobs
my
is a huge
gosh.
dude. You see
He's
this kid?
massive. Yeah. This guy is huge.
He's a
He's got to play
monster.
lineman or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah, he's a lineman.
Dude, Jacobs was. Dude, Jacobs, he
Can you
used to
imagine?
own like a stable of boxers and he would get booed so bad when he would be at boxing fights. I loved it.
Listen, can you imagine being Brandon Jacobs, like the biggest guy in the room, pretty much almost everywhere you go? That's not a football locker room your whole life, and then you got to deal with your punk kid who ends up being 6'9". You're like, are you kidding me?
You know how I feel bad for? I feel bad for their toilet. Could you imagine just the abuse that that toilet takes by two like 6'9" fucking behemoths? You
Just
know?
monsters. And his wife, I mean,
Jesus.
God,
God.
God bless her.
Yeesh. You know? Man, unbelievable. So, Bern, I mean,
What I
this
mean,
two
dominance, dominance.
dominance, absolute dominance. I mean, when looking at some of the scores that they had too, right? Like they beat, I mean, they whooped Penn State at Penn State 33-7. They beat Rutgers 61-0. You know what I mean? Like they're just killing, killing teams. They beat a number 50, dude. Syracuse was the number 15th ranked team in the country. They beat them 59-0. The next week, they played the number 11th ranked team in the country, the Washington Huskies, and beat them 65-7.
So there you go.
That's the
That's the stretch we were
consecutive
talking
weeks
about.
marking.
Yeah.
Yeah, 124-7. The craziest stat is that the Miami Hurricanes, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, had they not had an offense, and the defense, they only went off of defensive scores, they still would have been 8-4. That is the wildest stat, dude. The wildest stat.
Insane.